It's just past midnight on the 28th of July 2025. Over the glittering skyline of Moscow City, the calm shatters. Air raid sirens scream. Bright streaks rip across the night sky. Ukrainian drones diving straight into the heart of Russia's financial district. Seconds later, a deafening cracked glass shatters. Smoke rises from the tall towers. Office lights flicker out. Alarms echo down empty streets. Russian air defenses scramble. S-400 missiles and Pantsir cannons roar, tracers punching upward. But at least one drone slips through. A sudden flash blinds security cameras, then silence. For Moscow's elites, the message is clear. Nowhere is safe. And this is only the beginning. Within days, more waves will come, each strike cutting deeper into Russia's sense of security, forcing the Kremlin to admit a truth it has long denied: Ukraine can reach the very core of Moscow itself. By the end of July, the shock spreads. On the 30th of July and the 1st of August, more drones slam into Moscow's glass towers, this time in broad daylight. Windows rain down into the streets, firefighters scramble, and the world watches Russia's capital humiliated on live video. The Kremlin blames terror attacks, but ordinary Muscovites ask a harder question. How can Ukrainian drones fly hundreds of kilometers through what was supposed to be the densest air defense network on Earth? Meanwhile, Ukraine widens the pressure. On the 8th of August, drones hit oil depots and ammunition sites in Belgorod and Voronezh, choking the supply arteries that feed Russia's frontline units. Black smoke rises for hours, while Russian telegram channels erupt with panic and blame. Each strike is cheap for Kyiv, yet forces Moscow to spend millions firing interceptors. This imbalance eats at Russia's war machine, one warehouse at a time. For Ukraine, the objective is not just destruction, it's psychological. Every impact inside Russia forces the Kremlin to defend its own soil instead of pushing harder at the front. For Moscow, the stakes are existential. A government that promised total control now looks vulnerable in its own capital. Next comes the sea. On the 15th of August, Ukrainian unmanned boats probe Crimea's edge, forcing Russia to look both up and down. The conflict no longer feels distant to Russian citizens. It is in their skyline, in their fuel lines, in their daily commute. And as each strike lands, one reality grows clearer. This war is entering a new phase 1, where Ukraine takes the fight deep inside Russia's heartland. Whose strategy do you think will break first, Kyiv's persistence or Moscow's defenses? Drop your answer in the comments. Press 1 if you think Ukraine keeps the upper hand, or 9 if you believe Russia will restore control. The 1st of August 2025, 2 a.m. Russian radar screens flicker. Operators in Moscow's command bunker track dozens of low-flying objects from the southwest. At first they look like clutter, but seconds later the picture sharpens: Ukrainian drones, fast and coordinated, hugging the tree line. Sirens erupt, units across the capital switch to battle stations. The first response comes from the long-range S-400 batteries. Operators launch interceptor missiles at targets 60 kilometers away. Bright flashes arc upward. Explosions ripple across the dark horizon. Some drones are shredded mid-air, raining down in burning fragments. For a moment, it looks contained. But Kyiv planned for this. More drones appear from the north. Pantsir S-1 systems on Moscow's rooftops swivel and unleash rapid bursts. Tracer fire streaks across the skyline. One drone bursts apart near the Ministry of Economic Development, debris scattering across the boulevard. Others keep coming. Electronic warfare units flood the air with noise. Several drones wobble, lose sync, then steady again as backup guidance kicks in. A handful are deliberate decoys, cheap and noisy, built to soak up missiles and distract defenses. To buy time, Russian fighters scramble. MiG-31 seconds and Su-35 seconds roar into the night, afterburners glowing. Pilots coordinate with ground radars, boxing drones into kill zones. Missiles streak outward, intercepting a cluster before they can dive. Yet every shot costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, while the drones cost a fraction. On the ground, civilians film the chaos from balconies. Each interception lights the sky with thunderclaps and smoke trails. Telegram fills with shaky videos captioned, "Moscow under attack again." The optics matter almost as much as the damage. Minutes drag on. Controllers order another wave of interceptors. The sky glows with missiles, gunfire, flares. Explosions mark small victories, but the number of drones keeps climbing. Kyiv is forcing Russia to exhaust its defenses, layer by expensive layer. A small blast pops a glass curtain wall on a Moscow city tower. Alarms cascade and elevators halt, even as firefighters rush toward the district. This is the new face of modern war. Cheap swarms against billion-dollar shields. Tonight, Moscow is learning that lesson in real time. The first wave fades, but a second arrives minutes later. Controllers see it too late. More drones, smaller and faster, pushing in low over highways and rivers. Searchlights sweep the sky, tracing their paths. The pressure on Moscow's defenses spikes again. Several drones slip past the outer intercepts. Pantsir batteries manage to destroy a handful, but not all. One hits near a rail hub outside the city, sending fire into the night. Another dives toward an industrial park, triggering explosions that echo across neighborhoods. Sirens howl, emergency crews scramble, and Muscovites flood subway shelters. Russian fighters dive back into the fight, but coordination breaks down under stress. Pilots argue over target locks, while ground radars struggle to track dozens of moving blips. Each missile launched buys seconds, but the sky is too crowded. For every drone intercepted, another slips through. Commanders order ground gunners to tighten their arcs. Mobile units reposition along ring roads, creating overlapping fire zones. Trucks screech into place, crews unloading in minutes. Gun barrels swing skyward, unleashing wall after wall of tracers. The city itself becomes a fortress under siege. Kyiv's strategy shows saturation. Cheap drones from multiple vectors overwhelm Moscow's layered defense, forcing Russia to choose between defending the skyline or the supply hubs beyond it. The Kremlin insists the capital is secure, yet videos of burning towers tell a different story. Psychologically, the weight is crushing. Moscow's elite feel hunted in their glass offices. Ordinary citizens see their cityscape turned battlefield. For Ukraine, even limited hits mean victory, proof that Russia's defenses can be cracked with persistence and imagination. The duel grows sharper by the hour. Russia spends millions in interceptors and fuel. Ukraine spends a fraction to keep pressure high. It's a war of endurance, and the gap is widening. Do you think Moscow can keep absorbing these waves, or will Ukraine's persistence break through again? Comment 1 if you believe Ukraine's swarms will win this duel, or 9 if you think Russia's defenses will hold. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next strike in this escalating war. The 15th of August 2025. Just as Moscow reels from the aerial strikes, a new threat emerges hundreds of kilometers away on the Black Sea. Russian patrol ships cruise near Crimea, engines humming, radar screens calm. Suddenly, lookout spot wakes cutting across the waves. Small, fast, almost invisible against the dark water Ukrainian unmanned sea drones. These craft, low to the surface, skim forward at over 40 knots. They carry explosives packed into reinforced hulls. Unlike air drones, they can't be picked off easily by missiles. The closer they get, the harder they are to kill. Russian sailors rush to stations, machine guns chattering into the spray. Tracers rake the water, but the drones zigzag, foaming white trails behind them. The commander shouts, orders evasive maneuvers, sharp turns, speed up. Warships lumber compared to the nimble sea drones. One slips within a kilometer, then two more. Alarms shriek across the deck. Naval helicopters scramble, but the drones are already too close. Every second stretches thin. If one drone makes impact, the damage could cripple a ship, maybe sink it outright. Sailors fire RPGs over the rail, desperate, while gunners unleash belts of ammo that glow red in the night. Splashes rise where rounds hit, but some targets keep charging. For Ukraine, this is the twist. The war is no longer just in the sky or on land, it's in the sea lanes Russia once considered safe. Each successful hit weakens Moscow's Black Sea fleet and shakes its aura of control over Crimea. For Russia, the nightmare grows three fronts at once, all cheap, all relentless. The battlefield has shifted. Moscow must now defend its towers, its fuel lines, and its warships all under siege. And every move to cover one front leaves another exposed. The 2nd of September 2025, 4 a.m. After weeks of strikes on Moscow and Crimea, the Kremlin unleashes payback. From warships in the Black Sea and launchers along the coast, salvos of Caliber and Onyx cruise missiles roar skyward. Their target? Ukraine's command nodes, air bases, and defense sites. The missiles skim low over water, then dip inland at supersonic speed. In Kyiv, radars light up. Operators shout vectors as tracks multiply. Sirens wail through the capital. Families dive into shelters, the city bracing for impact. Ukrainian crews power up Patriot PAC-3 and NASAMS. Generators hum, launchers tilt, seekers lock on. The first intercepts launch. Bright arcs tear through the night, chasing targets head-on. One collides mid-air, an orange fireball blossoms above the suburbs. Cheers erupt in the bunker, but fresh alarms follow. More inbound. It's not one or two, it's dozens. Russia is betting on saturation. In Dnipro and Odessa, more launchers fire. Each Patriot shot costs millions, but missing even one could mean a cratered station or dead civilians. Operators push reload drills to the limit, hands shaking as they jam new missiles into rails. Outside, impacts flash, some caught in time, some smashing into empty fields, a few striking warehouses. For Ukraine, every intercept is survival. For Russia, every missile that lands is proof it can still strike. The duel plays out across the night sky, explosions marking each success and failure. Videos spread instantly, Patriot arcs, fireballs over Kyiv, windows rattling. By dawn, the wave slows. Most missiles are destroyed in flight, but a handful hit. Ukraine's defense holds, though at huge cost in ammo and stress. Russia proves it can still hit back, yet Ukraine proves it can withstand. The stalemate tightens, both sides bloodied, neither willing to yield. This is the knife edge of modern war. Missiles worth millions against interceptors worth millions more, while civilians watch from their basements. Which side do you think gains more from this exchange? Ukraine proving resilience or Russia proving reach? Comment 1 if you believe Ukraine's defense wins the night, or 9 if Russia's strike shows it still holds the initiative. And subscribe now so you don't miss the next escalation. Dawn on the 2nd of September 2025 reveals the damage. Smoke rises from shattered warehouses, emergency crews dig through debris, and Ukrainian soldiers reload exhausted launchers. The night's duel has ended, but its meaning is just beginning to sink in. Ukraine has shown the world it can withstand Russia's most powerful strikes. Patriot and NASAMS batteries, though costly, kept most of the missiles from reaching Kyiv and Dnipro. This resilience builds confidence with Western backers, proving that aid translates directly into survival. Each successful intercept strengthens Ukraine's argument for more support. For Russia, the message is mixed. Yes, Caliber and Onyx missiles hit targets. Yes, explosions lit Ukrainian skies. But the price was staggering, months of planning for a strike that left Ukraine bloodied but still standing. And every missile launched is one fewer in reserve, harder to replace under sanctions. Strategically, the campaign has forced Moscow into a bind. Its air defense net must now cover the capital, oil hubs, and the Black Sea Fleet all at once. This stretches resources thin, leaving frontline units with less protection. Ukraine's gamble hitting deep into Russia has shifted the balance, forcing the Kremlin to fight on defense in places it never expected. For civilians, the impact is psychological. Russians no longer trust that their own government can shield them. Ukrainians no longer assume missiles will always get through. Fear, fatigue, and resilience define daily life on both sides. The war has entered a grinding phase of endurance. Cheap drones clash with costly interceptors. Missiles trade for air defenses, and each side searches for the next advantage. What comes next could escalate further larger salvos, or entirely new weapons in the fight. In the end, the question lingers: who can sustain this duel longer, Ukraine with its persistence, or Russia with its stockpiles? Comment 1 if you believe Ukraine's resolve will outlast, or 9 if you think Russia's arsenal still tips the balance. And make sure to subscribe so you're here when the next chapter of this escalating war unfolds.